Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. My name's Alex, this is Regulus Blues, and today we're going to be looking at how to play the theme from Rick and Morty on Cigar Box Guitar. So if you haven't heard already, Adult Swim have commissioned another 70 whole episodes of Rick and Morty, which is something like twice as many as the first 3 seasons combined. With the rate at which they release new episodes though, that could keep the show going for quite some time, so that's pretty cool. So before we get back to playing the blues, I thought I'd continue with the theme of Rick and Morty and show you how I played the theme from Rick and Morty in the last video. So first things first, I'm using a 4-string Cigar Box guitar. It's in Spanish tuning and it's down tuned a half step. Now there are actually a few different ways to get to Spanish tuning on a 4-string. So far I've stuck with the DG-BD arrangement, so that's basically the top 4 strings from a regular 6-string guitar. I haven't tried any of the other Spanish tuning variations for 4-string just yet, but I thought I'd start off with this one because I felt it would be a lot easier to transpose songs from regular Spanish tuning. As I said, it's the same as the top 4 strings on a regular guitar, and the bottom 2 strings on here are actually the same as the bottom 2 strings on a regular guitar, but raised an octave, so you can play all the same patterns and positions that you're used to in Spanish. You just lose a little bit of the lower range of pitch. Also, if you want to go to standard tuning from this, all you got to do is raise the first string a whole step, so that's pretty handy. So it's tuned D flat or C sharp, G flat, B flat, and D flat again. Okay, so this is a pretty easy piece to learn. I mean, the whole thing's something like 30 seconds long. Almost a third of that's the intro, and the rest of it repeats a whole bunch, so you shouldn't have too much trouble picking this one up. And it's important to note here that this is just my interpretation of what notes I think I can hear, so I'm not going to vouch for the accuracy of the chord names, but here it is. So we start off with the intro, which I've got down as a F suspended flatted second, and you're going to want to put your ring finger on the 4th fret, 4th string, leave the 3rd string open, index finger on the 2nd fret, 2nd string, and your pinky finger on the 4th fret on the 1st string. So I think it plays, the whole thing plays 3 times over, so you play 14 times, and then you pull that off to, sorry I should mention, have your thumb curled over on the 4th string on the 2nd fret, so that when you pull that finger off and play the next one, you've got, which sounds lovely on its own, but there we go. And then immediately for the next strum, back on again. So that's 8 strums, 6 strums, and then the, and you want to do that 3 times in total. On the 3rd time, you don't pull off, you just keep playing. So that's, the intro. Okay, we'll come on to the lead after we've done the rest of the rhythm. So the first part of the rhythm, you want your middle and ring fingers on the 4th fret of the 4th and 3rd strings, index finger on the 3rd fret, and we leave the 1st string open. So I think I've got notation there to play it. Strum about twice, so, and then you want to play just the 2nd and 1st strings, so they're played in unison, that's the same note. So it's, and then we move to the 2nd chord, which is F minus 7 I've got, and that previous chord was a B flat minor with F pedal note, I think that's what you call it, /F. So we move to that 2nd chord, and that is ring finger on the 4th fret and bar the 2nd frets on the 1st to 3rd strings. once you've played that, you then play the top 2 strings, and then whatever finger is most comfortable for you, but you want to do the 2nd fret, 3rd string, and pull off to open. So the whole thing. And that's the first part of the first part. Second part of the first part, you go back to that B flat minor / F, and we want to play this. It's not playing it 3 times, but it's strumming it about 3 times. So joining that up with the previous bit, we've got and then we take the pinky finger, hit that onto the 4th fret, play that again about 3 times. Then we want to change the chord to, I've got D flat 6/9. I don't know if that's the actual chord Ryan Elder was thinking of, but that seems to work here, and that is index finger on the 2nd fret, middle finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, ring finger on the 4th string on the 4th fret, and then your pinky finger on the 4th fret of the 3rd string. So that sounds like this. So this is the section with Jerry and his shotgun, and Jerry and Robot Morty doing his homework. So that's, and then you want to pull your middle finger off so that you're now index finger on the 2nd fret, 1st and 2nd strings, and you want to keep those other 2 fingers where they were. So we've got, which I have down is C minor 11. So the whole thing. And that's the end of part 1, part B. Alright, so rhythm part 2A begins the same as part 1A, so you've got about 2 strums, and then the 3rd fret, 2nd string, open 1st string, then to the F minor 7 again, but then we take pinky finger and ring finger, move that up to the 7th fret, play 1st and 2nd strings on the 7th fret, and then on the 5th fret. So, and then to finish that off, you want, I'm trying to think what the easiest way to do this is, pinky finger on the 4th fret of the 1st string, index finger of the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and then the remaining 2 fingers you're going to hammer on in a second, so keep those there. So it's okay, so pull that together, it's so that's going into part 2B there, which is you want to take that index finger off, so you've got middle ring and pinky all on the 4th fret, but on the 4th, 3rd and 1st strings, with the 2nd string open. And then you play that about 3, yeah, it's another about 3 strums, so. And then you want to put the index finger back on to the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and that'll take us up to the last riff. So in total for this rhythm part 2, what we've got is Okay, the end part of the rhythm section is what I played way back at the beginning of the video, and that is the F-7 chord, so ring finger 4th fret, bar the 2nd fret on strings 3 to 1, play those top 2 strings again on the 2nd fret, then we move up to the 7th fret again, and that's both 1st and 2nd strings, down to the 5th fret, 1st and 2nd strings, and then slightly different than last time, instead of the 3rd fret there, you're going to leave it open, so we end, 1st string, 4th fret with whichever finger works for you. Play that with open 2nd string. So the whole thing, F-7, and then I've got, it's B flat sus for the last chord, and you let that ring. And that's all there is to it. Okay, on to the lead part. Now this is really straightforward, it repeats a lot. So you want to start with your slide on the 4th fret on the 3rd string. You want to get that vibrato going to get that nice sci-fi vibrato. Rock them back and forth over the fret wire there, as equally to the left and to the right of the fret wire to get a nice even range. And then from there you want to go to the 3rd fret on the 2nd string and slide down 1 to the 2nd fret. So we've got, and then immediately after you slide down, you want to play the 1st string, 2nd fret. So we've got, and then this next section you don't have to play with the slide. It's probably easier if you don't, but you can if you want. And that is the index finger, 2nd fret, 3rd string, and we pull that off to open. And then following that, we end with a slide up to the 4th fret, 4th string, and you want to get that vibrato going again. So. Okay, lead part 1B, so that is again the Jerry with his shotgun. So you start off on the 7th fret of the 2nd string, vibrato, and then you don't slide down, or you can, but that's not what I did, but you go down to the 3rd fret on the same string, 2nd string, vibrato on there, up to the 5th fret, vibrato again, 2nd string, and then you go down to the 3rd string, 6th fret, and vibrato again on that. So, and altogether that sounds like this. So then the second section is a little different from the first, but it kind of repeats. So we start with the vibrato on the 3rd string, 4th fret, and then 3rd to 2nd on the 2nd string again, and up to the 2nd on the 1st. But the difference here is that we slide up to the 7th and then down to the 5th and finish on the 4th where we use vibrato. So. And the second part to the second part of the lead is vibrato on the 4th fret of the 3rd string, followed by vibrato on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and then to mirror what the rhythm's playing on the end bit, you want to go on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, and slide down to the 2nd fret, then back up to the 5th. So following that, you go 1st string, 7th fret, slide down to the 5th, and I don't think it's a slide from the 5th to the 4th, I think it's a separate movement there. So it's slide down from the 7th to the 5th, and then 4th after that. And I wouldn't bother with vibrato on that last note, you just want to let it ring out, because that's the end of the song, and we're done. So there you go, that is how you play Rick and Morty on the Cigar Box Guitar. If you'd like a copy of the fully notated tab, I've left a link in the description below. That is in a shared folder on my Google Drive, so you've all got access to that if you want it. That's all for today, but I've got a whole bunch of new blues videos coming very soon, so subscribe if you want to stay up to date with those. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. I think I got it.